Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about an endgame build that I have found to do the absolute most damage of anything I've been able to make so far. Hands down, just as the bleeding edge of single target reliable damage over and over and over again. And that build is going to be an Oathbreaker Warlock combination. So you do level 7 Paladin Oathbreaker, level 5 Warlock Pact of the Blade. This allows you to entirely stack your Charisma mod for damage. Pact of the Blade uses it for everything to hit and damage-wise. And then Aura of Hate that you get from Oathbreaker gives you extra damage equal to your Charisma mod. And then with itemization, this just takes it to a whole new level. With a Diadem of Arcane Synergy, you're able to get another Charisma mod of damage to your damage. I'm using the Cloak of Protection here because armor class and saving throw is just strong. And when you combine it with the other aura that you get from Paladin of bonus and saving throws, that puts you at +7 saving throws, so +6 from my Charisma mod, and another +1 from the Cloak. This armor piece pulls it all together even just crazier though. The Bhaalist armor, it gives you an aura of making enemies vulnerable to piercing damage, which basically means you deal double damage against anything close to you as long as you're using piercing damage. And we'll get more to that in a minute. I'm using the Helldusk gloves just because it's a very easy +d6 fire damage. There is probably better gloves in the Masterwork gloves, or Gloves of the Master I think is what it's called, that Damon sells. I didn't have access to it in this playthrough, but it gives you +2 to hit and +2 damage, so effectively that's going to be 2 more piercing damage because it adds to your weapon damage. I'm wearing the Linebreaker boots right now because I'm kind of messing around with boot damage ideas, because there's really not anything specific, just kind of a lot of wonky things. Now, main hand wise, I'm using the Crimson Mischief weapon. This is the short sword that's dropped by Orin. What it does is, if you read this Red Vein Savagery ability, it gives you an extra 7 piercing damage if you have advantage, which is basically a budget version of Great Weapon Mastery, because instead of 10 damage and -5 to hit, you're just flat +7 with no minus, and you're not using a feat in the process either, it's just baked into the weapon. So just alone, this is really great. When you combine it with the Bhaalist armor, it's taking it even more because you're doubling that extra piercing damage. As well as I'm using the Rhapsody dagger offhand that you get from Asterian's quest, which gives you an extra +1 to hit and damage, as well as spell save DC for every enemy you kill, up to 3. So effectively you kill 3 enemies and now you're +3 to hit and +3 to damage, which is just crazy. And on top of that, you don't even have to actually go kill enemies. You just have to kill something that has a health bar, which can be like a literal bag or a crate, which is funny, but probably shouldn't work that way. Anyway, so this gives you the sweet buff, gives you +3 damage there. I'm using the Amulet of Greater Health here because it lets me not invest in con, and now I just magically have 23 con. The Crusher's Ring for the extra 10 movement speed, because we are a melee class, we want movement speed, it's pretty big. And then Risky Ring to give me advantage on all attacks to combo with Red Vein Savagery, so you will always get that bonus damage. And bow-wise, I'm using the Dead Shot just as a stat stick effectively, which gives me +1 to crit, so I'm critting on 19 instead of 20. Now, all these things tie together to do a bunch of damage. Especially when you combine it with Smite, and just crazy. I'll show you how this goes. We're just going to smack a dude here, and we'll start cranking it.
Let's do this. You were witnessed assaulting someone.
Alright, so now that we're actually in combat, all of these guys count as enemies, so they will be affected by the aura of murder from the Bhaalist armor. They weren't before because they didn't count as enemies, but now they will. So I'm going to pop a bonus action of dash, which I had from Expeditious Retreat from being a warlock. I don't really think you need to do this because you can be doing offhand attacks with your bonus action at this point, but again, I'm playing with the Linebreaker boots and I really want to see what I can do with wrath damage. So Pop our bonus action here. This gives us the Wrath buff, which gives us +1 damage for every turn remaining, so that's +3 damage right there. And then also the Arcane Synergy renewed, so again, we're getting more spellcasting bonded damage. So you can see this guy has 7 health. This is going to be almost a meaningless kill, but we're going to hit him because we need to do it. So you can see here, no smite, no crit. We are at 54, 60, 61, 81 damage. 81 damage, no crit, no smite, just a regular I hit a dude in the face. And I even rolled a 1 on my damage roll for the short sword. So this is actually minimum damage that you can do. I did roll a 6 on the fire. So, minus another 5. Either way. This is the minimum damage you can do with piercing. At least in this current build. So right there I have 74 damage from piercing alone. Now, if we add in a smite, this is where things get a little crazy. So we're just going to use a level 1 smite, nothing fancy. It's only an extra 2d8 damage. Alright, so now we've got our 2d8 radiant damage that we did in addition. We're, again, doing a crap ton of main hand damage. We're at 62 damage just from that alone. But if you look down here, we have 2 procs of Red Vein Savagery. Because Smite counts as its own attack action. Even though it's not, it counts as its own. And this procs all sorts of stuff in this game. So if you have things that proc on damage or proc on hit, it goes off with Smite as well. So, in this case, we're literally getting 2 procs of Red Vein Savagery. And if you look at this damage for Red Vein Savagery, I have the +7 damage, and the Scarlet Remittance from Rhapsody, the +3 damage, is adding to that directly. So that bumps it to 10 bonus damage from that, and then of course it's piercing, so it gets doubled. Now, remember we have the +3 damage from Scarlet Remittance here, from the Rhapsody Dagger. Notice it's here in our actual main hand attack. So not only does it add that +3 damage to your main hand attack itself, but it's also adding it to the bonus damage that comes from the weapon. So just by having those 2 weapons combined, that's +6 damage before you're even doubling it for the vulnerability, which is just insane. We're looking at 102, 112, 114, 119 damage for a level 1 smite that didn't even crit. I mean, I don't know anybody that's doing that much damage. And I'm doing 6 attacks because I've got the Elixir of Bloodlust. I'm not even using haste. If I was using haste, I'd have 9 attacks. Just insane. I really just do not know how to make anything compete with this level of a build in any way. But cool. If you find something to make it better, you have your own version, you think something does more damage, let me know. Cool. Thanks for watching. Bye.